Morning, everybody. It's 7 o'clock here in Hobart as usual, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning in the Sable Delong. And a few fun things happening. We'll talk later on about this big storm that's coming up over here on the way to Cape Horn. It's going to be a dandy, and we haven't alerted Abelish or Kirsten to it yet because it may all change. It's about 3 or 4 days away, but that's kind of interesting. Captain Goog went into the no-go zone, which is you won't be happy about that, but anyway. And over this side, we've got Guy Waits travelling really well at the moment in beautiful weather, doing 4.6 knots, heading due east. And Hobart's up here in the northeast, so looks like he might not be planning to go to Hobart. We're not sure. We haven't actually had any tweets from him for 4 days. I'm not sure why. We've given him the free use of his satellite phone, so he's talking to his team, and he can ring and talk to whoever he wants, which is really cool. So we're sort of on a watching brief, really. He's still our responsibility until. Oh, there he goes. He's dipping southeast now, so he's heading down. So I would say pretty much for sure he's going to carry on without a life raft and so on. So the reality for GGR at the moment is that once he passes the longitude of Hobart, then we'll sign off. His team's ready to take him over and monitor progress, and we'll give you the links for his private tracking page and so on as well. But he's just picked up speed, doing 5.5 knots and heading due southeast now, going down deep to try and save time and head out towards Cape Horn. That's our assumption. We'll wait and see what happens. Certainly the weather looks pretty mild there. He's probably got about 20 knots and pretty reasonable sea. So if we bring that forward a day, come through to tomorrow, again, pretty good. If he keeps going down, he's going to get stronger winds, a shorter distance, and all the rest of it. He's, just to give you relative positions, his actual latitude at the moment is 47.19. He's probably going to work the 50s, and we'll go through his 50s working across, but he's moving out of the roaring 40s, heading down to the 50s, and probably trying to make good time. So 24 hours out, it looks pretty much more the same, good sailing conditions, and then we go through to the 6th, again, plenty of breeze there, so he'll be happy with that. And the 7th at 4, 5, 6, 7, and he's got a big high pressure coming up behind him with not much wind, so we'll have to wait and see. So it looks like Guy's underway again and happy to be there. And if we get any tweets, we'll put them up on GGR Twitter. Failing that, you can probably already get to his website and everything. I'm not sure. He might already be posting there. I'm not sure at the moment, but we'll have a look at that and find out anyway. So back to today's weather for Ian, and I'll pick this up so you can see it a bit better. Here we go. So Ian's trying to make his way around the Bounties, doing 3.3 knots, not making a lot of distance, 45 miles in the last 24 hours, and but at least he's got a breeze, so he should be able to do that. It's coming from the north, so he should be able to keep making pretty good time there. Jeremy's on his way up over the top of the no-go zone, 5.7 knots, and he's got a nice, pretty much a nor'wester. It's just hooking around at the bottom there, probably 15, gusting 20. So just looking at this, bringing it forward a day, okay, and it's going to blow hard from the north. So it may have already actually started because Ian's actually already heading down a bit. This is where he's going to get the challenge. So we'll watch that with interest. But Jeremy's going to get a boost there. He'll sail well for the next 24 hours, probably maintaining 5.5, 6 knots all the way. And we go through to another day, and that northerly disappears very quickly, turns into a high pressure system, and Ian will be underway again. So he's only got about 1 day of frustrations trying to get around the Bounties, and then he's clear. So they can't really complain too much about that lot. Okay, back there. Now, Goog was an interesting story. He caught us all very much by surprise. Basically, local time, this happened where you can see he was sailing along and something was up. Pretty much the wind direction's exactly the same. It hasn't changed for 24 hours. It's not quite a westerly. It's a little bit south of west. Beautiful sailing conditions, and for some reason he took a big dive down here and actually crossed over. So this was early morning for us, and we weren't watching. The guys in the office in the Sable Delone, Seb and Lutz, they weren't watching. It was way late for them. And then I checked on, sort of around midday, so I said, what? Goog's gone under. So he was officially an hour and a half inside the zone, so it's a 4.5 hour time penalty. As soon as we realised, we sent him that message and gave him his current position. He was about here at that stage, so and now he's definitely cleared out. I think he might have realised something went wrong there, and maybe it was during the night, whatever. So, but for now he's making good time. 6.8 knots flying, and did 123 nautical miles in the day. And this is going to continue for a bit, so we come into tomorrow, going to go a little bit light, but it'll still be moving, so that's kind of nice. The next day on the 6th, got a great breeze, so he'll make the most of that as well. And if we cut it back so you can see what's going on here, he'll be over here by that stage, so no big dramas for Captain Goog at all. He'll be underway again, and I think it was a little hiccup, and in the scheme of things, 4.5 hours, not the end of the world for him, but nonetheless, that's the name of the game for GGR. Excuse me. So now we come across here with Abelish and Kirsten. Abelish has got the back end of this little puff here, doing 6.9 knots from the northwest. Seas will have built up a little bit, but it's consistent, so he should be happy to set up for that. You know, we mentioned all this yesterday. 5.3 knots for Kirsten, 136 miles a day. That's going to move really quickly out of the way. If we just come through in 24 hours, it's completely disappeared and everything looks very benign. But here's the big deal that's coming up. Well, first of all, Simon's looking okay too. He's making great time, 6 knots. He's climbed quite a reasonable distance up north, and on his way to Portamont. And he's been giving weather reports and so on all the way through. So this blow coming through here on the 5th is below Kirsten and Abelish, so they'll miss that, but then you'll see what happens. I'll just toggle this through, and the action's going to take place on the 7th, but it's too early to give them an alert, because first of all, it could change, it could get better, it could get worse, but it's absolutely coming. All 3 models that we're looking at are predicting very similar situations. It's potentially going to get quite nasty because of what's happening here in the centre. And anyway, we start alert. We'll leave it for tonight, and then tomorrow we'll be monitoring this very closely, and we'll keep both Abelish and Kirsten updated on what's happening. There's really no room to manoeuvre here. It's going to be a big one in terms of geographic size. It's quite large. It's going to fill up the whole approaches to Cape Horn, and you can see by the time it gets to here, Kirsten and Abelish will be down here somewhere. These are the issues where you get a northerly, you get a northwesterly, and then you've also got southwesterly and even southerly. And this is the sort of danger zone, but I think by the look of it, it's going to start heading southeast when it starts to form up in total. So this is something to watch, and it's not going to be pretty, but they're well prepared for it, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. But yeah, that's a big one. And you can see, you know, there is nowhere to go. This is where they're coming. We'll tell them tomorrow what's going on. There's really no point in him coming up here, because it's, you know, you just got to keep going down. If you get too high, when you come down again, you cop it on the beam, and it's a big issue. So there's absolutely nothing to do at the moment. But from tomorrow morning, we'll start giving them updates, and you can see it's quite interesting. Okay, so that's really about it. Everything's under control. Simon's doing okay. Got bits coming down to meet him. Kirsten and Abelish, they've got moderate Southern Ocean weather leading into Cape Horn at the moment, with a big one coming. And the guys at the back end have got plenty to do. And I think Guy Waits is just going to keep on going, but we'll have to wait and see what we hear from him when he decides to let us know.